Faith and Coffee Bean. This is a YouTube channel. I am new, so remember to go ahead and subscribe and like and comment and all that cool stuff, all that fun YouTube things. Y'all, I am a big coffee geek. If you like espresso and you like finding things on the cheap, come and hang out with me. I do these lives. I do them sometimes daily, a couple times a week. But I love making coffee. I love hanging out. I love connecting. Also follow me on Instagram or anything you see here. I have on my Amazon store. So check out my Amazon store. Anytime you buy or purchase anything, it's just going to go into buying me more coffee beans. That's all it's going to do. Because trust me, that's not what I'm doing this. I'm doing this to connect with y'all. And yeah. So anyway, guys, I'm a total geek. And I am a former pastor. That's why it's called Faith and Coffee Bean. I do also like encourage people and share some words of encouragement from time to time, all that good stuff. So if I get corny later on, I get corny. I know it. This is a question I get a lot. I get a lot of people. I'm completely crazy for doing espresso with a hand grinder. Can you use a hand grinder in espresso? So here's the deal. The best thing you can do when you start your espresso journey, believe it or not, is not spend a lot of money on an espresso machine or just jump into the whole, thing, both feet forward without having a good hand grinder. A lot of times, one of the number one things is someone spends a lot of money on a really cool Breville machine or a cool home barista setup or, something like that, and they don't have a good grinder. Grinder is everything. If you watch YouTube and you watch all the goofy stuff out there that's really cool, like me, there's a lot of things, and the number one thing you probably hear is get a good grinder. Well, I'm going to tell you this: if you're on a budget and you're budget minded and you're just jumping into things, I actually think having a good hand grinder is probably better than having good electric grinder. Here's my thinking before people go in the comments. They're like, "No, dude, you're wrong." Um, a hand grinder is something you could take with you on a business trip. If you are a coffee nut, there's never really good coffee in hotels. You can go places with it. You can do things with it. You could travel. You know, bring a bag of beans. Make sure you got some good beans with you. Oh, and go about your business and make some coffee. Do a really cool thing like, bring your coffee and your AeroPress and make some coffee on the go. There's a lot of things you can do with it. And also the big thing is it's worth spending money on a grinder. Listen, this grinder right here is the Timemore C3 Pro Chestnut. I love this thing. It's my daily driver. I use this to make my espresso about 3 or 4 times. And I'm going to recommend this more than anything, but there's so many really good grinders out there. There's the King grinders. There's like the J-Presso. There's just so many cool ones. If you have a grinder you use, let me know. But it's just totally awesome. When I first kind of started to get back into the coffee habit, hobby, I picked a grinder up, and this is a very, very, very cheap grinder on Amazon. I actually don't even know the manufacturer's name. I'll tell you that. I don't even know the manufacturer. I think I have this on my Amazon storefront, like if you did want to purchase it. And this grinder has been a great experience to kind of get my toe back into the water, but it is definitely an interesting experience for grinding with espresso. So today I'm going to go ahead and use this grinder, and I'm going to grind for espresso on this Amazon cheap grinder. Because there's some folks out there like, you cannot do that with something like this. And this right here, Timemore C3 Pro, I picked up on special for about $75. Usually they're around $180 is what I typically see, 80 and 90 on special. They are going down a little bit. This has been my favorite. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it. I'm going to go ahead and brew up some espresso with my very, very, very cheap hand grinder. And I'm going to give you can you actually do it? What are your results? Then I'll go ahead and do a shot with the Timemore. just so you guys could see the difference, okay? So let's go ahead and get some beans ready to go, nice and up. I am using today my Casa Brews 4700, and I'm using the bottomless portafilter with the 3M bomber. This is the 18-gram basket. It's a precision basket. Love it. This is actually one of my favorite baskets to use to get really great results. I'm also going to go ahead and get some hot water run through it. It is not a boil system. It's a heat pump, and it's basically instant hot water. But what that means is, unlike the long over here, it doesn't get the brew head hot. So it doesn't matter how long you have this machine on, you still got to kind of put some water through it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And I'm going to be using my 3M Bomber puck screen. I love this thing. This thing's been really great. All right. Get some beans. Alrighty. I want to use the exact same beans so you can see that. I'm going to be using the Red Roost Raven. I know these beans are getting a little bit older, so I'm still hoping we're going to get some good crema out of them. But that's kind of the whole purpose of this. All right, so let me go ahead and get this going. Hey, again, yeah, I'm definitely going to make a cup here. I wish I could make you a cup too, my friend. Oh, my goodness. I have not had any espresso today. I haven't had any coffee, and it's morning. I'm busy at work, so I need to take a little break, and I need some caffeine. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this at about 17. I'm not going to quite do, well, that's 17.6. I'm going to back it down to 17. Yeah, right on the money. Right on the money. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do Artist Martini. Now, here is the thing about these grinders. It's going to take you longer. There's just no other way to say it. This one's nice because you can change it from the outside. As far as changing your grind setting, with my Timemore, you basically, here is where you do the adjustments, and I'll show you that later on. This one says it goes all the way to 55, but the truth is, you can get that ring and go down as much as you could go to the 0 point and kind of adjust accordingly. I'm going to do this at about 25. That's kind of been the happy medium with this. I actually really love using this grind for pour overs. It does really great with pour overs. It's a conifer, and I feel like I've been getting really good results with my pour overs. So for a lot of AeroPress work I do, or a lot of doing pour overs, it's the way to go for me. So I actually have been using it over my Timemore. The capacity on this is about 20 grams. So yeah, we're getting close to what the capacity is on this particular grinder on one round of green. And check this out. This grinder has a special feature. It sounds like a dying bird. Actually, let's see here. I'm gonna go actually a little bit finer. Can you hear the dying bird yet? Cracks me up. We were staying with family for a holiday, and on vacation at my mother-in-law's, and I'm grinding beans in the guest room, and she's like, "Hey, is there a bird trap in the wall?" And we're gonna go ahead and give this grinder the best results we can. So I'm gonna be using my blind shaker with this as well, and I'll use the blind shaker with the other one. So here's the thing about hand grinding. Can you use it for espresso? Yeah, you totally can. Are you going to get a workout? 100%. There's a lot of folks I watch on YouTube that are industry and they have awesome YouTube channels, and I love watching them. I love watching Liz. Liz has a really cool coffee channel. Oh man, it's just so cool. Just look up Liz Espresso. You'll find her channel. But she was doing a review the other day, and she definitely has some really cool electric grinders. And I was noticing that, she was talking about some of the seconds it takes to grind, a shot of espresso. And that's how you should think about it with electric grinder. But I couldn't help to think, it takes me a while. She has the Timemore, the same one I have, and she uses it for pour overs. Okay, so there we go. All clear. All the beans are out of that chamber. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. Beautiful. As far as grind size goes, like I said, I went at 15. All these cheap grinders, they're going to be a different setting. So what works for me is going to be different for you. If you get a cheap grinder, let's go ahead and put this into the blind shaker. And blind shakers, primary function is so it's breaking up those clumps. Some people say if you do this, you don't have to do the WT work. Give it a little shake. Get rid of my XR here. Okay. Let's brew some stuff up. Using 3M Bomber actual bar towel. They make really good bar towels. It's surprising. Okay, so let's make some magic here. Definitely want to make sure you knock out. This thing can have a lot of retention. Look at that though, isn't that gorgeous? Set that aside. And because I'm trying to give it some of the best results I'm going to go ahead and use WDT, but I'm using a round distributor tool. So it has my needles in there, making sure my grounds are nice and dispersed. I think I've done everything I can to make this work well. Alrighty, let's go ahead and do trusty distributor, 58 millimeter. Okay, do some tamping. Use my YOLO 58 millimeter. There we go. 2 for the show. Okay, and the puck screen. Okay. All right, y'all, this is the magic hour. Let's find out how this looks. I'm gonna do a double shot. I always do double. Again, hand grinder, cheap grinder. This is a $20 grinder off of Amazon. Almost zero crema, the way to say it. I think this will be a tasty cup, but like I did mention, the beans I'm using, they're not the newest. I just ran out of some of my really new stuff, but it's there. It's just real thin. You gotta get your glasses on. Take a look at that crema. There's my double. Let's go ahead and give us a little taste. I mean, not the worst. Best. I already know that. I could see it. Kind of came out a little water there. But I guess I'm not going to knock it too bad. Look, there's a little crema right there. I'm not. Hey, maybe I didn't do too bad. Let's give us a little taste. How does that look? Smells delicious. Let's give it a little taste here. Good. Definitely good. It's very. I'm trying to think of how to put it. It's just it doesn't really have the best mouthfeel to it. It does look good. It tastes really good. It's great coffee. I really love this roaster. They're out of Virginia. Definitely a really good roaster. Very chocolatey. Um, Not bad at all. It's just, I don't know how to put it. I just feel like it's missing some complexity to it. Like it could better. So literally, I'm gonna do the exact same thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use the Timemore C3 Pro. So here is the Timemore, and let's measure out some beans. Again, this is Red Rooster coffee, the Black Raven. It's a dark roast. I am almost to the end of this bag. I have given this bag a lot of love, and I'll probably either reorder from them or this bag for like $6. Check it out over at Home Goods. It's weird to think that Home Goods would have specialty coffee, but it does. And sometimes you could find some decent deals. Everything I do is on a budget. I'm all about that. You know, back in the day, talking to my son, back in the day, about 20 years ago, I used to be a pastor, like seminary basically. And in it, we help feed the homeless and do all this really cool stuff in New York City. But I was telling him about how poor I was as a college student in a nonprofit feeding homeless folks and working in the community. And I was just thinking about the times when I lived in New York City and I would go to an amazing cafe that was like crazy high end, and I would literally spend some of all my money having good coffee and having a good meal every now and then, because it doesn't matter how poor I was always getting some good money, having a good experience. I love New York. I am a native Californian. I live in Florida. I've lived in Washington, D.C., and I've lived in most parts of Texas. I've lived in most parts of the country. But I'm going to tell you, New York City's magical. It's the one city that's always lived up to all the hype. Especially if you love coffee. It's a great place. Okay, go ahead and grinding this at a 7, and that's what I typically grind most of my espresso. 6 is the lowest recommended amount, and I'm doing it at an angle like this because it does kind of like a slow feed setup. The one thing I'm going to say is that when you do a hand grinder, you are doing it at that lower RPM. There are some folks that do say you open up some flavor notes and things that are different than going super high end. I mean, the RPMs are my hand. I could try to do it faster, but I don't think it really makes that big of a difference when you're doing it by hand. My grandmother had one of those old hand grinders, and I grew up with an older Mexican abuelita who introduced me to coffee. And I remember her using a hand grinder sometimes to make her coffee. It's good memories. Sometimes it's better that way because you're taking the time, Back to the beans. It sounds silly and corny, but sometimes that's what I think it's all about. All right, almost there. Yep, right about there. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. Way different. I mean, not crazy different, but I still think it matters. So here's the Timemore, and I'm going to give it the same love that I did with the other one. I'm going to put it in the blind shaker, just to be fair. A lot of times I use a catch cup, put my grounds into the catch cup, and shake up the cup. Give that shake. Okay. All right, let's empty out the portafilter. That's where the magic happens. And I'm really digging this new knockbox. This is a QC knockbox. They're 29 bucks. I have it on my Amazon page. They are awesome. I really liked it because it's so easy just to pull that out and dump it. Like, it's just crazy easy. Not that you can't, it wasn't on my other knockbox, but I also really like how durable this one has been. You could feel it. Like, I could really knock stuff around, worry about breaking it. Sometimes with the wooden ones, they're beautiful, but I always worry about messing up the wood. So same thing here. Let's go ahead. Ooh, that port filter feels nice and hot. All right, looks good. Set that right there. And again, same scenario. As far as WDT, I'm going to use the round tool. Circular WDT. Right here. Let's pop that baby bit right in there. Be fine. Even that's enough. I mean, come on, I've just shook this thing. I've done everything. I'm giving a lot of love to this. I'm a distributor. That looks... Okay. I want to make sure my puck screen's nice and clean, and it is. 3M Bomber puck screen. Okay. Moment of truth here. Woohoo! Again, double shot. The flow on this is just, it came out better. There's just no other way to say it. I mean, definitely a better flow. I can already tell that right now. Oh yeah, 4X espresso shot, quad shot. It's the way to go. I haven't had any coffee today, so I need my coffee. Today's got to start it up way. Yeah, I mean, definitely you can see a difference right now, just as far as it comes out. There's more crema on that. A lot of it is grind size and dialing in, and you're just never going to get the same. But look at that. Look at that beautiful crema right there. Give it a good shake. Okay. Give this a taste. Looks good. Looks really good. Smells good. It smells very fragrant, like almost like a flower. It's weird. Wow, friends. Just smooth, really good body. Again, it tastes very similar because they're the same beans. I mean, come on now. Wow, what a difference though. Creamy, smooth, better mouthfeel. I don't know how to say this, but for some reason when I grind it this way, and I used to think people were nuts when they would say this, but for some reason these grounds, they smell more flowery. Like you could smell the fruit of the coffee. Like I know it sounds weird, but it definitely is a difference. Wow. Yeah. So the big question is, do you use a hand grinder for espresso? Yeah, you definitely can. Should you? It depends on you. I'm going to say it like that. It depends on you. It depends on your budget. For me, I budget cautious. Everything I do is on a shoestring. You know, there's no other way to say it. I don't. It's because I'm a spendthrift. I don't know why. It's because, you know, I'd like to buy deals. I got this ECP DeLonghi for 40 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. I picked this thing up for about 170, the Casa Brews special. You know, I really like finding things for a good deal, y'all. And it's hard to jump into a hobby with knowing that you're going to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars even. And, you know, I want to make sure that I sell the best experience. Also, if things are cheaper, I know it sounds weird, but I feel like I'm more willing to experiment and get that experience and practice and do things. You know, if something's super high end, super expensive, you do worry to break it. You know, I know that sounds silly, but I mean, come on. This time more. If you're gonna buy a hand grinder, buy a really good one. King Grinder, the J Presso. There are so many amazing videos you could look at where people talk about it. Tom's Coffee Corner, great place to watch his review. There's just no other way to say it. It's definitely worth spending the extra money. Sellers, an $80 investment for me. So I'm going to go with that $80 because I do feel like it does make a difference. But the truth is, if you want to spend 20 bucks to get a cheap grinder, I'm going to tell you something no one else is going to tell you. These cheap grinders are copying these folks. I mean, that's just the truth. And I would rather give my money to a company like Timemore or one of these other big guys. But the truth is, if you don't have the money and you just want to go get something cheap to get your foot in the door, there's nothing wrong with that. Just do it. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Again, my name is Tony. Remember to like and subscribe. This is a new channel. If you like hanging out and getting some coffee tips and talking to some dude in his home office, please hang out with me. Please leave a comment below. I really appreciate that. Also, follow me on Instagram. I love connecting with folks. Send me an Instagram message any point. You know, I definitely love connecting that way, and I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Go brew yourself some good coffee, all right? Thank you.